Hey Venus, listen, we have slow connection. It cut out twice. I'm gonna try this a third time because third time's a charm. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. Happy Thursday. It's May 22nd. It is raining here in Glendora, New Jersey. We are celebrating air, which is why I called it What's in the Air. It's Gemini season. I'm an air sign, so I feel like I just wanted to call it What's in the Air. There's been a lot of energy going around, so we're going to take a second and just kind of check in with each other. I was pulling cards from the Cosmic Crossroads deck. I felt like it just was very on brand for how I was feeling when I woke up this morning of like, oh my gosh, there's so many areas and directions and things to choose and go through and work towards. But I also really loved the message that's inside of the deck, or inside of the packaging of this deck. It says, when we communicate to ourselves and to our inner world that we are deserving of our time and presence, we unleash the magic within. I'm going to repeat that one more time so we can all receive that. When we communicate to ourselves and to our inner world that we are deserving of our time and presence, we unleash the magic within. That right there is exactly why I chose to use these cards for a message for today. I pulled these earlier. I promise you this was all live, but it cut out, so we're just going to do a quick little recap. But first and foremost, I picked the Hope card, which is 22 in the deck. The Hope card, I really love this for an air sign season right now, especially on a rainy day. If we've been feeling literally lost in space, confused, uncertain, we have no idea where things are going, where things are taking us, that hope, which I would also associate with trust, having hope in ourselves, having hope in our light and in our spiritual gifts, our physical gifts, our creative outlets, whatever it is, having hope in ourselves puts this layer of protection, puts this layer of clarity through us and for us. I really love that because of the fact that, like, there's also this note here about the new moon. So new moons are some of my favorite because they typically relate to and revolve around shadow work. So if we're feeling a little lost about how we got here, what we need to heal, you know, if we're in the trenches, so to speak, of our healing and emotional and spiritual development, trusting that we're meant to go through it, having hope for ourselves through it, is also setting a stronger foundation. And that new moon energy that's happening, the new moon is next week, it's helping us, you know, sort of clear out energetic debris. It's helping us have that sort of clarity, right? Like there's so much unclear around this card, like it says, or like it shows us, like being lost in space. And so having that hope, having that strong foundation in yourself to grow through what you're going through, even if you may not see things clearly, it's putting that literal bubble of protection, of peace, of clarity, and of divine healing and energy around you. And I love that. I feel like it's a beautiful thing to understand going into an air season. I know that air energy can sometimes, people, you know, they associate it with being flighty and it's flaky and it's all over the place. But the beauty of that is that it's very fluid and it's also very communication based. So having that hope for yourself now and putting that in your brain can allow you to have a better sense of positive self-talk, positive affirmations. The way that you express your journey towards others is also going to be seen in a different light too. And I really love that. I think that it's a beautiful message. I don't want to get too carried away. But the next card that I pulled, which I was definitely excited for, because if you know me, you know that I love butterflies. But the next card that I pulled here in the deck was the 41 card. I'll let that sit for a second. And so it's the Vision card. I love this for multiple reasons. especially for like that kind of evil eye, divine eye that's kind of happening there too. So yes, vision. What I want to say about this is like definitely having a creative vision, a spiritual vision for yourself that doesn't need to be contingent upon sight. So what I mean by that is that if you are, I really want to reference Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo says that we create our own reality. If you feel like you want more joy, more creative endeavors, more money, more friendships, more peace, more whatever, or less, less chaos, less, confusion, less drama, less whatever, less responsibilities, whatever it is that you want in your life, this is a phenomenal opportunity to make that change happen. And what I was saying about having the vision not contingent upon sight is that just because you don't see it tangibly right now, just because I don't see $20 million in my hands right here to show you on live, it doesn't mean that it's not on its way. Thanks. Thanks, universe. I'm ready to accept. But yeah, just even the small things. Like if we're moving into the season of air, so communicate your needs, your desires, communicate the things that you don't want, communicate boundaries. All of that happening in an air season, yes, it may be, all over the place and very fluid, but it helps you communicate the parts of yourself that, like, what I mean by that is it helps you communicate more clearly what exactly it is that your reality you're trying to manifest, if that makes sense. But I really love that. I also was saying before that the two butterflies in this also give me the fact of the mirror effect. So what I mean by that is that tapping into community. I was saying that if you see someone in your life that is constantly day in and day out doing hard work, focusing on themselves, prioritizing their goals, but you see them, they may not be as hopeful, right, as we talked about, or joyful or as motivated, be their champion, like be their mirror. Let them know that you see what they're working towards, you see their light, you see their power, you see all of that, you see their vision and you're honoring it. Sometimes, like, we can take for granted that we can be that person for someone else. And then in doing so, it lets them know that they're safe and encouraged and empowered to do the same thing for us and others. So be that mirror for someone's vision today or this week or whenever in this air season. Like, communicate that too. Yes, communicate your own stuff, your own needs and desires and wants, but also communicate love and gratitude, affirmations, confirmations, like communicate that to other people. Giving that love, you're just honoring the abundance feedback loop. If I'm going to give it and be a champion for everybody else's success, they're going to give it and it's going to come back to me in some way, shape, or form. And I would hope that in doing so, it helps you see your vision more clearly as well. You're helping other people see themselves and their light clearer, and it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't always need to be in the same direction. We don't have to have the same goals. I don't always have to do it if I feel like there's a self-gain thing out of it. Like, no, it's just a matter of giving people love, giving them the credit that they deserve, helping them see their vision a little bit clearer. I really love that. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Erin. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. Let me know how you're feeling. Send an emoji. Let me know if these cards are speaking to you. But yeah, I think just to quickly go, having hope for ourselves allows us to have a little bit more clarity, especially if things are kind of feeling like we're lost in space. We don't know where we're going. We're just like ungrounded and whatever. Having hope emotionally and spiritually sets a better foundation for us to manifest and realize our visions. I really love that. I think also too, if some of us have been feeling a little hopeless, know that we're going through a sort of metamorphosis, so to speak. So things that used to give us hope, that we used to rely on or depend on, or things that we used to give hope for others, like, it may have changed, and that's okay. That's a part of life. That's a part of growth. And we're allowed to sort of go in different directions with other people, with old parts of ourselves. I think that is a beautiful segue into the last card that I pulled, which is this one here. Sorry, I'm gonna let that sit for a second. Which is the forgiveness card. I really love this because I know that, Carrie, you're on here. I know that you mentioned to me before that our backs, like our back side of us, is part of our receiving side. And I love, 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 love that in this card on the figure's back side, they have roses, beautiful red roses growing. And so I love this for many reasons. Let's talk about it. One, I love that forgiveness and having those roses grow through my hair and through my backside is letting me know what people say, that it is so true. Forgiving others is a gift to yourself. Forgiving past experiences is a gift to your present self. Forgiving anything is a gift to your present self and your future self too. Let's talk about it. It creates room for you to receive more. It creates room for you to receive healing and divine love. Roses are also typically associated with your ancestors, your guardians, your guides, and just divine femininity, which is receiving. And so I love that. I love that, like, forgiving anything, anyone, myself included, forgiving me, creates more room for me to receive, creates more room for me to experience love and healing, creates more room for me to be guided and protected. Like, if I'm holding on to this kind of baggage, it's like wearing like a backpack. If I'm holding on to this anger, fear, resentment, whatever, I'm blocking out a whole bunch of things. And I'm also not allowing myself to fully like nourish the positive things in my life. And this forgiveness card, I love that there's this sort of play on like a building or confinement, but then there being like open windows. So forgiveness can be like a limiting, the act of not forgiving, the act of holding on to resentments, towards grudges, towards any kind of anger, unresolved issues. It can be very limiting. It can be very confining. It keeps us in a certain headspace. It keeps us in a certain emotional vibration. And it keeps us in a certain level of spiritual clarity that may be kind of, you know, ungrounded or not fully tethered to reality. And so I think that those clouds and things in there kind of give me that, where if I'm forgiving in my present moment, it puts this layer of protection, of peace, of joy and confidence and courage around me, and then it kind of spreads outward. But I love that being a forgiveness card because it's also about closing out karmic cycles. So if I need to forgive other people, places, and things, if I need to forgive myself, this is the time to do it in an air sign where I can literally communicate and express, like we talked about, communicate and express our needs, clarify our visions, refine and refocus our hope, but forgiving ourselves because we're all doing the very best that we can with what we have. We can also sort of give forgiveness in a way of as a gift to ourselves. Like, we know that forgiving does not mean forgetting. Forgiving does not mean lowering self-worth. It doesn't mean denying your boundaries. It doesn't mean overriding your non-negotiables of like your spiritual and emotional worth. No. But forgiving as a gift to yourself in the present moment and also for your future self. There are so many blessings already on the way, which we may not see tangibly, but the vision that we have for ourselves, the vision that we see in others, is abundance. And so forgiving right now in this moment, in this season of air, helps propel that. It also helps us be more able to receive, more grounded and rooted in hope. That's just my 2 cents about that card. Yes, Carrie, the butterflies were speaking, the heart and the love, right? It gives a lot of divine love. I really love that. It leads to growth. There's this sort of act of like rebirth also happening too, regeneration. So I really love those. Hi everyone, good afternoon. If you're just joining me, I was pulling out of the Cosmic Crossroads deck. I really love that. But if you're not in the mood to forgive, that's okay. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But I think also too, just in general, when I said rebirth and regeneration, maybe just do like some kind of release ceremony, especially with this new moon that's approaching, which is in Gemini, Gemini is typically like a very curious sign. So maybe just release, like some kind of release ceremony. I don't know why, it just popped in my head, but some kind of release ceremony about just like not keeping ourselves in like limited thought processes, or not keeping other people in certain boxes in our mind. So release that, give ourselves the grace and the gift that it is to forgive and release. Because there's just something about that. I really love this spread because too, we had a 4 number card, we had a 5 number card, and the last one was 9. So to me, in my limited understanding of numerology, is that when that happens, it also means alignment. So setting the strong foundations for hope, taking the time to envision and re-clarify, refocus, redefine what exactly it is that we're manifesting towards, what reality we're trying to create, and making those changes leads to that 9 of forgiving ourselves for what we may not have known, forgiving ourselves for not achieving certain things that we may have wanted to or needed to, having results that didn't look like what we thought, forgiving that, forgiving other people, releasing that sort of baggage of resentment or fear or anger as best as we can and as respectfully as we can too. I love that. I love that alignment of how that works. And it kind of goes full circle. So by doing those things, in that order, it also brings it back around of when I release those things, when I forgive, it gives me more hope. It gives me more clarity. It gives me a stronger foundation of how I communicate and express my needs. And then once I release that shame and that guilt or the anger and resentment, it also helps me see my visions a little bit clearer. It also makes the things that I'm working towards a little bit easier because I'm not carrying around the same baggage that kept me in a sort of unclear and maybe chaotic headspace. And then as that keeps propelling, it becomes easier to forgive because you're not as attached to it. And that's just maybe my understanding, but I really love these cards. I know that was really quick, very speedy, but I love this message. And then the last card that jumped out when I was shuffling these back together, which, talk about alignment, I really love, is this last card here. Do we see it? Do we see what it says? Vulnerability. Oh, man. That one hits for sure, especially in an air sign, air season. Being vulnerable. I think it's definitely a skill. Being vulnerable is also an act of resistance. And what I mean by that is that I think there's a lot of push to be like emotionally strong, to have deep sense of fortitude and strength moving through your day to day. But being vulnerable is an act of resistance, of allowing ourselves to feel the full spectrum of human emotion, whether that's good, bad, ugly, everything in between and indifferent. I love this because it's an 8 card, so that vulnerability is a means to an abundance. And I love that there's like a full moon energy happening here too. So we had the new moon pop up in this card, and it's leading us towards whatever we're manifesting in the full moon. So what I would take from this card as it relates to what we already talked about from these 3, and I'm going to show you while I say it, is that if we're seeking hope, if we're seeking a new reality, clearer visions, if we're seeking forgiveness, trust that being vulnerable with yourself and others in this time frame of an air sign, communication-based planet, is that we're cultivating that reality. We're making that change happen. We're setting stronger foundations. We're releasing karmic debts and cycles. It is all happening. It may not happen in a way that we can tangibly see it, feel it, touch it, take ownership of it, but it is happening. It's similar to like that garden idea of things that I plant right now in this moment. I can't expect tomorrow to have a bundle of roses just sitting right here for me. Like, no, it's going to take some time. I may not see all the ins and outs of growth, of development, of release and renewal, but it doesn't mean that it's not happening. And I think just knowing that that happens in nature is abundance, because it also gives me an example to think about of how it relates to me. So being vulnerable with yourselves in this moment is going to help you cultivate whatever abundance you're trying to achieve or manifest. It also will help you release and renew whatever you're trying to heal. And I would expect that definitely within the next full moon season, some kind of confirmation that that's happening. But yeah, I love that card, vulnerability. What a beautiful message, especially on a rainy day. Wow. But once again, this is the Cosmic Crossroads deck. I'm going to read the little message one more time because I just really love it. And especially after pulling those cards, I need to hear it for myself. But it says, when we communicate to ourselves and to our inner world that we are deserving of our time and presence, we unleash the magic within. I feel like that is a beautiful sum to the cards that I pulled for today. A lot of emotional and spiritual growth happening. I love that for all of you. I love that for me. But yeah, that's the Cosmic Crossroads deck. I'm just gonna also talk about two more things, and then I'm gonna end this live and let everybody have a beautiful rest of their Thursday. But today, the Moonology calendar of the day, the saying is, the lovers of the zodiac, Venus and Mars, are preparing to align. So the vibe today is anything from super social to really romantic. How dreamy do you want your day to be? So kind of going off of what we talked about, like have hope, give yourself a little romance, talk to your friends, be that mirror of their success and their light and their growth. I love that it says that, how dreamy do you want your day to be? The moon is in Aries tonight. So definitely tying in those, fiery passions, any kind of, I love that. I don't want to get too into it. This will be a 4-hour live. But the last thing that I just wanted to talk about was the Pride weekend that we have coming up in June 27th to the 29th. I wanted to just put a face to this message before typing it out. But I have seen on a couple of the posts for the Pride weekend, random accounts putting an email or something and saying, message me for details. Please don't. I don't like the spam and the fake messages that are happening. If you're trying to contact anybody about Pride, you can reach out to the Venus page or me. I put my information on there on a couple of the posts and flyers, my number, my email, or come in and chat with me in the store over the next month. But yeah, if it is not me, Paulo, or if it's not the Venus Moon account, please do not message anybody about any information for the Pride weekend that we're hosting here. I messaged one of the accounts just to kind of see what they were talking about, and they're trying to get some money and trying to just not do nice things. So we're not about that here. I'm going to address it as it comes up. But just if you see anything, please disregard anything. Let us know so we can, report it and block it. But yeah, if you're trying to get engaged and activated with the Pride weekend that we have, reach out to the store account, reach out to me. And it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Nothing's going to stop us. We're going to have a great time. We're going to do our thing, but I don't want anybody to taint their experience with people that are just trying to have bad intentions. That's not what we're about here. So if you see anything, let us know. Otherwise, keep up with us. Keep yourselves dreaming through these cosmic crossroads that we're all going through together. And yeah, reach out. Let us know if there's any way that we can support you, if there's anything you need. Share the Pride weekend information with your friends and family. Bring everybody out. It's going to be a beautiful time. I love you all. Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday. Happy Gemini season. And yeah, that's what's in the air today. We'll chat again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.